Hi, this is Cam Coley with Charlotte Water. Just to let all those that are attending know that we are recording this. This will be on our website later this week to review, as well as handouts and the presentation. If you have questions during the presentation, please use the Q&A section in that panel on the right. If you're just listening in, you can always reach out to us after the presentation to get questions answered. And I will kick it over to Chief Engineer Carrie Cantrell for more information. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you are enjoying your day today, whether you're watching this live or you're watching this recorded at a later date. This is our Charlotte Water 5-year CIP, our capital improvement plan that we have worked together diligently on within our organization, as well as reaching out to the towns and community that we serve. This is not an easy process, as I'm sure you are aware. We have grown in our community. We've seen our CIP triple in almost 4 cycles. And so we have an amazing staff that implement this. And it is important that we maintain that productivity, as well as maintain our commitment to serving the community and supporting the community. So with that, I would like to turn it over to our project, our division manager, Bhavna Swayampakala, who is our planning division manager, and she will lead us through this.
Thank you, Carrie, for introduction, and good afternoon, everyone. And again, thank you all for joining us this afternoon to learn about our Charlotte Water FY22 through 26 capital investment plan. Again, my name is Bhavna Swayampakala, and I am the planning group division manager. My group not only puts together the capital investment plan, but we also manage the water system studies and inquiries, sanitary sewer basin studies, and capacity assurance program. Today in our panelists, we have Dr. Carrie Cantrell, our Chief Engineer over Planning and Land Development, Mr. Carl Wilson, Chief Engineer over Capital Projects and Operational Support, myself, Chuck Bliss, he's the Division Manager over Capital Projects and Management, and Jeff Davis, Division Manager over Operations Support. We have Abby Dolan with our procurement, who's our Procurement Manager, and Cam Coley, who introduced us. He's in our communications. A brief outline for today's presentation. I'm going to talk about general information about Charlotte Water and what we do, and go a little bit over our how much infrastructure we have and stuff. And then I'll get into the capital investment plan. After presenting about the capital investment plan, Jeff Davis is going to talk about the opportunities within his group. And then Chuck Bliss will talk about opportunities in his group. And then after that, we'll have time allotted for you guys for questions. And as Cam suggested, at any time during this presentation, you have any questions, please feel free to type it in the chat window. So most of our water supply is from Catawba, as you all know. We have 2 drinking water supply intakes, 2 raw water reservoirs, 3 drinking water treatment plants. We maintain 4 different field operation facilities. There are 6 water treatment plants. Out of that, 5 are regular and 1 is a package plant. We not only serve Mecklenburg County, but we also serve town of Davidson, Cornelius, Huntersville, Mint Hill, Matthews, and Pineville. We have about 17 staffed facilities. We maintain 83 wastewater lift stations and about 1,000 full-time employees. A little more facts about our water systems. We have 3 water treatment plants with a total design capacity of 174 million gallons per day. The average pumping rate is about 110 million gallons per day. We maintain 4 pressure zones. The smallest one, as you can see, is the Pineville zone. We have about 17 booster pump stations and elevated storage tanks. The total mileage of pipes that we maintain and operate is about 4,482 miles, and the size ranges from 1 inch to about 120 inch. We have a total about 300,000 active water connections, and we maintain about 18,000 hydrants. A little bit more about our sanitary sewer. As I told earlier, we have 5 wastewater treatment plant and 1 package plant, the Ash Plantation plant. We recently decommissioned one of our other package plant, Oxford Glen, when the Stevens Creek project was completed. The total capacity that our wastewater treatment plant can treat is about 123 million gallons per day, and the average treatment rate is about 89 million gallons per day. Again, roughly about 4,475 miles of sewer pipe ranging from 1.5 inch to 96 inch. We maintain 78 sanitary sewer pump stations and roughly around 280,000 wastewater connections. We recently finished our first strategic plan for Charlotte Water, and what you see on your screen is our vision and mission statement. Basically, Charlotte Water provides reliable, high-quality service to our community through valued employees, financial stability, and environmental stewardship. There are 3 main components of our strategic plan, which is infrastructure for the future, sustainability, and equity and inclusion. The main goal of our community investment plan is, capital investment plan is identify the right projects, identify long-term project funding needs, maintain consistent annual capital funding level. We have to make sure our goals are well balanced and support other municipal plans and economic development plans, and also meet regulatory requirements at the same time. Briefly getting into how we categorize our projects and programs. For strategy and budget purposes, our CIP is categorized into these 4 categories. Regulatory requirements, which is basically most of the water quality, like defining water quality type of projects go in that category. Capacity for growth, the name tells itself, any growth line, any pipeline or treatment plant projects to enhance capacity goes under that category. Rehab and replacement, most of the maintenance projects fall under that category, and commitment to public projects and utility operations. These are projects that work in conjunction with other city-funded projects. For example, if we need to replace a pipe due to roadway improvement or a stormwater project, those are categorized into that category. Other than that, what we did this year is we started prioritizing our projects, and we had 6 categories in which we were using to score our projects. And those are compliance, capacity enhancement, reliable infrastructure, operational efficiency, customer level of service, and environmental enhancement. This further helped us to score our projects in the CIP and give them, based on that scoring, we could prioritize our projects. A history of our capital spending. Like I said, we had to maintain a consistent capital funding. What you can see is we met our last year goal this fiscal year. Our total goal for total requested amount for CIP was around 360 million, and we are very close to that as of last week. So we have been maintaining what we are asking. And it is very critical that we get the right projects delivered on the right time and on budget. So Charlotte Water remains fiscally responsible for our ratepayers. Again, this is the history of our CIP itself. As you can see, it has grown quite a bit in last couple of years. Like today, the total CIP dollar amount for FY22 was $2.4 billion. And last year it was around 1.7. So you can see how much it's growing by year. Here's a brief breakdown of our CIP based on the categories I talked earlier. The total for this year was around $2.4 billion. Under capacity for growth, we had about $1.3 billion. Rehab and replacement was around 545. Regulatory requirements 221, and commitments to public projects was about 187. There were a total of 124 projects and programs in this year's CIP. A brief breakdown of our CIP further. There were about 41 water projects, 64 wastewater projects, and about 19 total utility support projects. The total for the FY 22 to 26 water was 507.6 million, wastewater was 1.7 billion, and utility support was about 171 million. And you can see how it's been divided between treatment plant and pipeline. And most of the wastewater stuff that you see, this high amount in pipelines, is because of all these capacity for growth projects that we are doing. And treatment plant too, because of the new store regional, that's a very high dollar amount that we're spending on treatment plants, and also Mallet Creek treatment plant. Again, a further breakdown of just FY22, which you can see we are going to spend about 246 million in FY22 for wastewater projects. That's a very big number right there. Again, because of Stowe Regional treatment plant and Mallet treatment plant expansions, this number is really up there. This is a handout that will be available on our website. I don't know if it's very clear on your screen or not, but what you will get from this handout is not only our CIP ID and name of the projects, but the third column is the delivery method on like how we're proposing of doing these projects, who is the project manager, the project status, which is whether it's in design, construction, planning, and you'll see a category for program, and that's basically our programs, and it's not actually a project, and it can be various delivery methods, or the status of the project can change from planning to design to construction. So that's why we left it as program. Followed by that, you'll see the funding years and the total ask in those years. And this should be available on the website to download. So that's all I had for today. I'll pass over to Jeff Davis to talk about the opportunities within his treatment plant and operation support group.
So thank you, Bob, and I hope everyone can hear me. I'm Jeff Davis, and I'm the division manager for the Rehab and Operations Support Group, or ROSG for short. ROSG is basically the rehab arm of Charlotte Water Engineering. We specialize in small, quick projects that address the priority needs of our operation and maintenance divisions. We have a staff of 4 PMs that meet quarterly with our operations and maintenance staff to identify their needs and execute their priority projects. Our projects range from studies to design to construction, and our studies often pave the way to future rehab and capital projects. Let's take a look at some of the significant standalone projects that we have, and then we'll discuss our rehab programs projects in more detail. Next slide. Our first project to highlight is the Sugar and Irwin UV replacements. This project will be bid as separate projects, with Sugar being bid first and then followed by Irwin anywhere from 3 to 18 months later. Sugar is projected to advertise in the fall of 2021. And although the primary scope is to replace the existing UV units with new units, there will be considerable excavation and concrete work as we construct the effluent box for the new UV units. Next slide, please. Our second project to highlight is the McAlpine Wastewater Treatment Plant Biosolids Improvement Project. It is presently in the beginning stages of design and is projected to advertise in the fall of 2022. The basis for this project is a PER that was completed approximately 3 years ago. Primary areas to be rehabilitated consist of the digester control buildings and the dewatering facility. In addition, 8 digesters will be cleaned out. The scope consists of heavy process piping and equipment replacement work, along with odor control facilities, and there are some HVAC and architectural upgrades included in this project. Next slide. Also, we have our roofing replacement program, and this is a program that's now in its 4th year, and we have replaced approximately 35 roofs in various water and wastewater facilities throughout the utility. We're adding about 10 to 12 more roofs under 4 separate bid packages. And these bid packages are slated to be advertised in the spring of 2022. The design is complete, and the reason that we're holding off on advertising is due to some material supply chain issues in the roofing industry. But we hope that that will be mitigated in the near future, and then we can successfully advertise and bid these projects again in the spring of 2022. Next slide. Our next project to highlight is the vacuum receiving station at our Zone 2 facility on General Commerce Drive. This project was ready to bid this last spring, but we decided to add some more scope to it. We're going to be installing more canopies over existing storage bin, in addition to the metal canopy over the vacuum receiving station, as you can see in the photo here. This project is presently in design and is projected to be advertised in the winter of 2022. The receiving station processes debris recovered from the cleanout of our conveyance and treatment systems. There is very little mechanical or electrical work in this project. It's primarily site work and concrete flat work, along with metal canopy installation. Next slide. So as Bob had indicated to you all, Charlotte Water owns and operates 5 wastewater treatment plants and 1 package plant. And that package plant is at Ash Plantation, which is near Mid Hill, North Carolina. And the project scope for this project will be to essentially construct a new package plant in parallel with the existing package plant, and then demo the existing plant once the new plant is started up and commissioned. Right-of-way acquisition is presently occurring for this new plant, and the design is expected to start in the fall of 2021. And we're projecting that we'll advertise this project in the summer of 2022. Next slide. The last project I have to highlight is the McAlpine low lift pump station and filter EQ rehab. This project is primarily process piping and valving replacement, along with 2 new blowers for the filter EQ facility. This project is designed and is presently slated for the 3rd quarter of 2021, although there might be a delay until the 1st quarter of 2022. Next slide. So we've looked at all of our standalone projects, and now we need to talk just a little bit about the rehab program projects themselves. Again, these are small, quick projects, and by small and quick, I mean projects that are usually under 1-year duration and under $500,000. Our project portfolio is constantly changing, and we're always looking for bidders. These are good projects to get your foot in the door with Charlotte Water. We engineer these projects primarily through the use of our on-call engineering contracts. These on-call engineering contracts employ 15 different firms, with specialty firms for disciplines such as HVAC and roofing. A good example of a project that would fall under this program would be the chiller replacement that we're presently doing at the Duke's water treatment plant. Next slide. So this concludes the construction work that we want to talk about, but I also want to say a little bit about upcoming design work. And as I said before, a majority of our design work is executed primarily by the firms in our on-call listing. However, we do have a couple of projects that are coming up on which the PER has been completed or will be completed, and that we will be procuring detailed design services for by RFQ. These projects are the Can Lift Pump Station Phase 3. This is a rehab of 39 submersible pump stations. The PER is planned to start this summer, and the RFQ for design services is projected to be on the street in the spring of 2022. And the second project is the McAlpine Preliminary and Primary Treatment Rehab. This PER was completed 3 years ago, and this will rehab primary clarifiers, pump stations, and preliminary treatment facilities. So the exact scope is still being decided upon, but we project that the design RFQ will be on the street in the fall of 2021. Now, one other word to say for the interested consultants that are on the call today, the on-call engineering contracts that we're presently working under are for 3-year terms. The next term of on-calls will commence July 1, 2023, and the RFQs for these services will go out in the fall of 2022. So thank you so much for your attendance today, and please be sure to look out for these projects, especially the projects in our rehab program. And now I'll turn it over to Chuck Bliss to talk about the project management group.
Thank you, Bhavna and Jeff. Good afternoon to everyone. The project management group at Charlotte Water manages and that involve primarily larger pipelines, lift stations, and water and wastewater treatment facilities. Most all of our projects are designed and constructed by consultants and contractors, be either traditional design, bid build, or a collaborative approach, typically progressive design build or construction manager at risk. Project management group consists of 14 engineers, 10 construction inspectors, an engineering assistant, and an administrative position. Next slide. I've broken down the consultant and contractor opportunities for this fiscal year 2022 into 4 categories: CMAR, or construction manager at risk, and progressive design build subcontractor opportunities, with the general contractor leading these projects. 2, the new progressive design build RFQs, or requests for qualifications, that should be advertised this fiscal year. 3, the traditional hard bid construction opportunities. And 4, the professional service requests for qualifications. There are 2 CMAR contracts in the project management group that will be seeking subcontractors to do many different subcontracting opportunities. The first one is Charlotte Water's new Field Operations Zone 4 facility. Rogers Builders is the CMAR, and they have identified 33 bid packages, all of which have pre-approved subcontractors eligible to bid. But you can still perform work on this project as a sub to one of these pre-qualified subcontractors. Bid opening is coming up real soon on Thursday, July 29th. Please see the Charlotte Water website for more info, and it's shown there. The second CMAR opportunity will come next summer, 2022, when the joint venture PC Leaper will advertise for subcontractors to perform work on the Mallard Creek Wastewater Treatment Plant Phase 1 project. As far as subcontractor opportunities, as part of progressive design builder teams, there will be upcoming work packages 3 and 4 as part of the Mount Holly Pump Station and Force Main and Stowe Influent Pump Station and Headworks project this fall and winter by the general contractor Haskell. Also, the progressive design builder team of the joint venture of Crowder and Garney will be issuing 3 work packages to construct new Charlotte Water Stowe Regional Wastewater Resource Recovery Facility starting in the spring of 2022. Progressive design build RFQs. Okay, Charlotte Water has adopted the use of collaborative delivery for some of its projects, with the progressive design build approach being the most widely used method. There will be 4 progressive design build opportunities this fiscal year 2022 in the project management group, with 3 of them coming out this fall of 2021. Franklin Water Treatment Plant Residuals Improvement Project, which is to do a comprehensive rehab of the existing residuals processing facilities and to expand their capacity. The Upper Little Sugar Creek Interceptor is a new large diameter sewer pipeline following Little Sugar Creek from the Sugar Creek Wastewater Treatment Plant to the Sugar Creek Road, approximately 50,000 linear feet. The third progressive design build project this fall is the Belmont Pump Station and Force Main project. The project consists of a pumping station at the existing City of Belmont Wastewater Treatment Plant and a force main across the Catawba River to the Charlotte Water Paw Creek Pump Station. Next spring, we project issuing an RFQ for the McAlpine Wastewater Treatment Plant Biosolids THP project. This will enhance the biosolids treatment process at the McAlpine plant to include the thermal hydrolysis process, or THP, to treat the other primary product from the wastewater treatment process, biosolids. This will allow the treated biosolids to be utilized in a more beneficial use. Upcoming hard bid construction advertisements. Charlotte Water still utilizes the traditional design bid build process for delivery of the majority of its capital projects. There are a number of hard bid construction projects projected to be advertised in fiscal year 2022. 13 of these projects are listed above. Stream bank and sewer repairs, the Hidden Valley trunk sewer replacement will advertise this summer. This fall, we project the Stowe Regional Resource Recovery Facility, North Access Road and Bridge, Clarks Creek Pump Station replacement, Briar and Paw Creek Interceptors rehab, McAlpine Biosolids EQ tanks and pumping, and the paving and miscellaneous repair contracts should all advertise this winter, or fall, fall. This coming winter, we will advertise the Dixie River Road water main. And next spring, we are projecting to advertise the McMullen Creek Basin rehab, the Franklin Water Treatment Plant improvements, elevated storage tanks, and the Beaver Dam lift station improvements. And then next summer, 2022, we should advertise the Stowe Solids conveyance facilities. Professional services are RFQs coming up. The project management group is proposing to issue requests for qualifications for professional services for 4 projects in fiscal year 2022. We should be issuing the RFQ to perform tank inspections, rehab, and repair. And this fall 2021 RFQs should be the Lee Dukes Water Treatment Plant improvements, Franklin Water Treatment Plant improvements, and the stream bank and sewer improvements. I will return the presentation back to Bhavna to facilitate any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Chuck and Jeff. Again, that is end of our presentation. If you guys have any questions, please let us know in the chat window. And I'll hand it over to Carl if he wants to talk a word or two.
Hey, thanks, Bhavna. And thanks, Jeff and Chuck, for your presentations, and Carrie as well. Oh, I don't know if you all can hear me. I've been having trouble with my computer. Okay, cool, good. So I don't have to put my mouth on the computer. But as you all can see, there are quite a few projects currently, lined up for us to try to deliver over the next, years or so. However, remember, these are just projects that we know of right now. And as with every year, things come up, so things may change. So there may be additional projects that are not listed that you do not see here that we may have to deliver because of other competing interest. And so I'd like to just point that out, as you all know, because you've seen these type of presentations before. But I also would like to acknowledge some other special guests that we have on the phone here. I know Angela Charles was on here. I'm not sure. I think she's already gone. She's our director. But we do have a couple of our deputy directors, David Zier and Ron Hargrove. So not sure if you guys want to mention anything, or are you just checking in just to make sure that we're covering everything.
Thank you, Carl. No, I don't have anything to add. Thank you all for pulling the information together and getting it out there. I hope we have a lot of folks on the other end that are watching this and find it informative. And thank you to the team for doing a great job in pulling our CIP together and presenting it today.
Yeah, same for me, Carl. David said everything I would have said. I appreciate the team putting it together, and all the folks out there listening and watching, and hopefully it generates some questions. But we have a big program and need lots of support and expertise to help get it accomplished. So we always appreciate those interested in working with us.
Gotcha. Thanks, David and Ron. And I'll say one last thing, and I'll punt it back over to you, Bhavna or Carrie. You know, as Ron just mentioned, just delivering these projects takes a huge amount of coordination and work and help. So we really appreciate you all being interested in our workload and what we do for the community. On top of that, you know, keep in mind that, you know, we have different delivery methods that we've put into place, as Chuck mentioned and Ron has mentioned. I'm sorry, Chuck and Jeff had mentioned. And we're critiquing those as we go along. So, you know, just be patient with us and looking forward to working with you all as we deliver these projects. So Bhavna or Carrie, please, you know, I'm not sure if there are any questions that are being asked from the group. Thank you.
I was seeing just one, I have two questions, I guess. This is from Alejandra Houston. She's asking, what are the CBI requirements expected for this fiscal year? Abby, do you have an answer for that?
Oh, hey, Bhavna, this is Frederica. Hello to
Hey,
all.
Frederica.
I was in the process of typing a reply to Alexandra. It's a great question. All the projects will have different expectations as well as subcontracting opportunities. And so the requirements will be known as the projects go out, but we anticipate hopefully going forward, you saw a lot of our typical opportunities that we usually pull out. We're looking for new ones as well that you all will see and find, as well as hoping to grow the CBI's database. I like to also put a plug in if you know firms that are currently not certified with the CBI office that you work with and like to do work with and would like to have on a project that can meet your goal, please have them contact a certification at the CBI office, charlottebusinessinclusion.com. But back to the requirements, the goals as usual will vary. So it's kind of a type of stay tuned as we review the projects and determine what those subcontracting opportunities will be.
Thank you, Frederica. Alejandra, I see your question, and Alejandra's another question is, what would you approximate the CIP budget to be delivery, traditional versus alternative delivery? Again, that handout would be available. I haven't done the math yet, Alejandra, so I can't tell you right off, but I can surely send you an email after I do the math. But again, that spreadsheet that I was showing, it has all that information in there. So we can quickly do the math and give you a number on that.
And Bhavna, if I can just chime in 1 second here on that one.
Sure.
Hey, so Alexandra, it's good to hear from you. So just one thing I'd like to just toss out there for everybody, and of course I'm sure you already know this, the collaborative delivery methods that we are putting into place, they're just tools, just like the traditional delivery methods. So it's important to note that not every, how can I put this? Since there are different drivers and different requirements for different projects, of course, there'll be different delivery methods implemented. So, you know, just keep that in mind as you look at your projects that you're maybe interested in. I think Chuck mentioned quite a few, and Jeff did too, that crossover between the different types. So, you know, they're just tools for us to use, and we may change them as we go along, but there's no magic into, you know, how we split them up as far as percentage wise.
Again, we have one more question from Mr. Jeff Williams. How will the current situation with material cost and delivery impact the program? I don't know, Carl, if you want to answer, or Jeff or Chuck.
I don't want to steal the thunder from Jeff or Chuck. I mean, so if you guys want to answer, I'll be happy to answer, Jeff. Also, y'all let me know.
Go ahead, Carl.
All right. So, hey, Jeff, it's good to talk with you. It's been a while. Yeah, so, what we're seeing now with this price uncertainty is something that we hadn't seen before, I guess, in a while. I'll put it that way. Not like this. And no doubt it's changing what we're looking at as far as our budgets. That's what we're concerned about. So sometimes when we have dollars that are indicated, like what Bhavna mentioned on the spreadsheet, some folks, it's easy to get kind of married to those numbers because that's what you see. But in an environment like what we have, we try to hold those projects as close to those figures as possible, but with the understanding that there's unpredictability in the market. And that's where you all come in, Jeff, to kind of help us kind of see what's going on. If you hear about things, you hear from suppliers, like y'all have already told us, you hear from suppliers, you hear from manufacturers, what's going on out in the marketplace. That helps us to better estimate our cost. And we rely on our third-party estimating. We rely on our private consultants to help us with that as well. So with that being said, Ron or David, I don't know if y'all have anything y'all want to add to that. It's kind of, I kept it at the lower level because I didn't know how we want to go with this, but y'all want to add anything?
Not necessarily, Carl. I mean, obviously it's a factor in pricing, and it could have the potential to change some scopes. We've got a robust CIP, and if all the pricing is going to be escalated and it's going to continue at this rate, we may have to reprioritize the CIP based upon the funding that we have available. But it's going to be hard to determine a specific answer to that at this time.
Gotcha. Yeah, Ron and Jeff, one more thing to think about there. I mean, Ron, you hit it on the head, and I should have said that. I'm sorry about that. Our dollar amounts are limited as far as what we can spend, of course. Wish we could print more money, but it probably wouldn't be worth anything. But so there's a set budget, if you will, and Chad and Melissa and their folks do a great job as far as providing us with what we need. But the flip side of that is there's a certain amount that we when it becomes unattainable or we have to start reshuffling projects, reshuffling deliveries, timeframes, spreading projects out. And that's some of the beauty of some of the collaborative delivery work. I'll just plug that for a second. We've been working with some DB groups that have kind of spread some dollars out for us that help us deliver the projects over time that really help with our cash flow and our CIP dollars. So I'll leave that alone. I hope that answered your question, Jeff.
Moving on, Cam did receive some questions. The first one, Frederica, I guess this might be for you. Does a CBI firm have to have an office in Charlotte to get certified?
Yes, I just popped the answer in the chat.
Okay.
The office should be located in the 13 County Charlotte CSA, and there's a link to that location. But to give you a quick idea what those counties are, if you're familiar with them, then it would be Iredell, Rowan, Lincoln, Cleveland, Gaston, Mecklenburg, of course, York, Chester, and Lancaster, which are in South Carolina, Union, Anson, Stanley, and Cabarrus. But again, there's the link that you can go straight to it.
The next one is CharlotteWater recently did a review of pipeline work using progressive design build. Are there any results that you would like to share?
like I said, I hate to keep jumping in. If anybody else wants to answer, y'all cut me off. So y'all go ahead. I'll be happy to answer.
Well, Carl, I would just say that the city's internal audit folks wanted to do a review of progressive design build projects for Charlotte Water and picked one that went through the review, and there were a few findings. The outcome is still being determined, but what we expect to see going forward is probably some tweaks to the actual progressive design build contracts that are used, as well as more documentation of pricing at phase 1 and phase 2 moving forward. That may require some additional way of looking at that pricing from the engineering as well as the DB teams themselves. But there's a lot of due diligence on Charlotte Water's part that has to be developed, and Carl and his team are working towards that.
Thank you, Ron. The next question is, who is doing the design? Oh, sorry, Carl, go ahead.
Bob, can I just toss one more thing in there?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
What y'all will notice also for the DB teams, especially some of the guys that are currently in the contract, you will notice that we're looking at third-party estimating, like just a check on what you all send as a part of that result of what Ron just mentioned. And before we send the GMPs to council, to make sure that all the costs are reasonable. And we're also looking at, we're working closely, some of y'all have already seen closely with Brown and Caldwell for some, to make sure that the pricing is indicated in certain ways that are easy to follow. And they're followed through the phase 1 and phase 2. So just a heads up on those. But that's all I have to add. Thanks, Bob.
Well, that is all the questions we had for today. Any more? Please let me know.
Was there a question on ash plantation, Bob? No?
Oh, yeah. Who is doing the design for ash plantation package plant?
Yeah, I'll answer that. So we purchased that package plant from a private utility. So I don't know who the original manufacturer of that plant was, but the project that I highlighted today, Ash Plantation Phase 2, that project is being engineered by Highfield Infrastructure. And then we also had a Phase 1 of that project that was completed last fall, which was rehabbing various processes in that package plant. And that engineering was completed by W.K. Dixon.
Yeah. Well, thank you all. That's all we had. Please look on the website by next week for the slides from today's presentation. There should be recording available from our presentation today and all the necessary handouts.